And now it's time for Outsiders Weather and the Skeptics Ice Age Watch, where, according to Newsweek, in late September, the sun was spotless for 28 days straight, one of the longest sunspot-free stretches in recent years. Researchers say we are at a grand solar minimum, the point in the sun's 11-year cycle where solar activity drops to its lowest point, cooling the planet, which would go a long way to explaining why, during what would normally be prime time for Midwest apple picking, orchards around Indiana are running out of apples early this season following a late spring freeze that obliterated much of the state's crop. The sub-freezing cold impacted a whopping 70% of the apple crop, and according to Peter Hurst, a fruit tree specialist at Purdue University, it's the worst we've seen in quite some time, in decades, in Indiana. This is really rare for us to have damage as severe as what we've seen this year. But one place they have had a bumper crop is in the UK wind turbine subsidies market, thanks to a botched government green scheme in which wind turbine owners are receiving 7 times the value of the electricity they generate, costing UK consumers over £1 billion. One turbine reaps about £375,000 a year, yet produces electricity worth just £51,000. And the subsidy is guaranteed for 20 years. Bumper crop indeed. Nice work if you can get it. And the perfect metaphor for so-called renewable energy. Meanwhile, the big freeze is again underway in the mountain states of the US, according to Electroverse, even though summer is barely over. Over a foot of snow is set to fall as the United States braces for its 6th Arctic blast of the season. Much of the central and eastern Canada is also bracing for an unusual chill. Still, despite the evidence presented on this show week in, week out, that the globe may be cooling, not warming, that didn't stop presidential candidate Joe Biden making this extraordinary claim in the recent debate with President Trump.
We spend billions of dollars now, billions of dollars on floods, hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble. Look what's happened just in the Midwest with these storms that come through and wipe out entire sections and counties in Iowa. They didn't happen before. They're because of global warming.
Sorry, Joe, storms wiping out Iowa has never happened before? Really? I guess the good folk of Belmond in Iowa must have been tripping on LSD back in 1966 on the night of October 14th when they imagined a late-season tornado, including a killer F5 twister with winds of up to 200 miles per hour, wiping out half their town. Nah, didn't happen, Joe, did it? Just like, I guess, the 1,000 people who lived in Pomeroy on the flat prairie lands of Iowa back in 1893 must have been eating magic mushrooms on the afternoon of July 6th when they looked up and saw 2 huge thunderheads poking into the sky. That F5 tornado produced a 400-yard path of total destruction right through the town. Nothing was left standing, not a living thing moved, 80% of the homes were totally destroyed, and 49 people were killed. But hey, Joe, it never happened. Just their imagination. How can a presidential candidate stand there and tell such barefaced lies and get away with it? I asked Jimi Hendrix, who had the munchies and was in the middle of chewing his guitar, what he thought about Joe's porkies.